Hello class, it's Mr. James here. Today we're going to review some of those multiplication strategies we learned in class using mainly decomposing and unbundling. But again, just reiterating some of those strategies such as the area model, number bonds, etc. Okay, so let's start with the first problem we have here, which is 9 times 8. And I'm going to go ahead and solve this using unbundling. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my factors here and I have 9 and I also have 8. So which one do I want to unbundle? I'm going to choose the 8. What two numbers can I add that equal 8? Some could argue it could be 5 and 3, it could be 4 and 4, or it could be some other numbers. But in this case, we're going to use 4 and 4. So now that I have this, that means I'm simply going to multiply this factor here by both of these 4s. Okay, so that means I'm going to do 9 times 4 and then 9 times 4 again. And whatever answer I get, whatever product I get from both, I'm going to add them. Okay, so we know that our multiples of 9, when we skip count, 9, 18, 27, 36, we know that 9 times 4 is going to be 36. So that means this one here is also going to be 36. Okay, so now I'm going to add, meaning I'm going to drop down that plus symbol I have. I'm going to add my two totals here, and I have 36 plus 36, which is equal to, let's see, 6 plus 6 makes 12. Carry the 1 to the tens place. So that means 3 plus 3 plus 1 makes 72. So that means my answer is going to be 72 for 9 times 8. How do you do this? Remember, you're multiplying the factor that you did not unbundle by both of the new numbers that you created. So essentially we said that this 8 no longer exists. We turn this into 4 and 4. So this is 9 times 4 and then 9 times 4 again, and then you just simply add your two totals. Okay, let's take a look at B. Here we have 7 times 6. Okay, so I'm going to use a number bond to solve this problem. So I'm going to draw my hole. I'm going to make 7 parts because it's 7 groups of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and this is 7 groups of 6. Okay, so now the fun part with the number bond is that you simply get to choose how you want to unbundle. So I'm going to unbundle the 6 here into a certain number of groups. So let's say I'm only going to do 4 for this one. So I'm going to decompose this. So circled, we have 4 groups of 6. So this makes 4 times 6. And then the ones that we don't have circled are 3 groups of 6. So that makes 3 times 6. So now I'm going to solve 4 times 6, which makes 24. And I'm going to do 3 times 6, which makes 18. The last step is to simply combine your two totals. So we're going to do 24 plus 18. Okay. And when I solve this, I know that in my ones place, if I'm going to solve this horizontally, I know that here in my ones place that 8 plus 4 is 12. I'm going to carry the 1 to the tens place. So that's 2 plus 1 plus 1. So I know that 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 1 more makes 4. So my answer is going to be 42. So 7 times 6 is going to equal 42. Okay, and the way that I did this again, just to reiterate, I decomposed the 6 into 4 and 3 and multiplied both of those numbers, and then I added those totals. Okay, let's get into some 2-digit by 1-digit multiplication using partial products, or some call it the area model. Okay, so I like this strategy here because it really shows you how to decompose and break down the number. So I have 17. I'm going to remind myself, how would I write 17 in expanded form? I'm going to write 17 in expanded form as 10 plus 7. Okay, so now I'm going to make my area model box. Okay, I'm going to put one line down the middle. So now that I have my area model box, I'm going to rewrite this at the top as 10 plus 7. And the only number that I haven't used yet is the 5. So I'm going to put the 5 on the side. So since you put the 5 on the side, you remember that you're going to multiply 5 times in both boxes, and you're only going to multiply the number that's on top of that box. So in the first box, there's only a 10 on top of that box, and in the second box, there is a 7 on the top of that box. So now I'm going to multiply. Now, some students struggle with the 10 because it's a 2-digit number again. But remember, when you have a 0, you're just going to act like the 0 does not exist. And what does that become? That becomes 5 times 1. I'll show you here. So this is 5 times 1. Now you're going to bring down that 0. You get 50. Okay, so I'm going to do 5 times 7. Okay, so I don't know what 5 times 7 is, so I'm going to write my multiples. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So now I know my answer is 35. And so the last step to do is to simply add your work of 50 plus 35. And when I add this up, let's see, I got 5 plus 0 in my ones place, which is 5. And then 5 plus 3 is 8. So that means my answer to 17 times 5 is also 85. Okay. Again, we call this the area model or partial products. Okay, we can do the same thing for this strategy here. We can go ahead and break this up now. Instead of using a box, I'm just going to use parentheses. So I'm going to break this up into expanded form, which is 30 and then 6. Okay, so now that I broke that up into 30 and 6, I'm essentially going to multiply both of those numbers by the 4. Okay, visually, this is what I'm showing you. You're going to multiply the 4 by the 6. You're also going to come around and multiply the 4 by the 30. So this is technically going to be 30 times 4, parentheses, plus 6 times 4, parentheses. Okay, so I got to do 30 times 4. I don't know what that is, but I know that it has a 0 because I made it a 10. So that means in this case, all I got to do is simply say, well, the 0 doesn't exist. So now what is 3 times 4? Well, 3 times 4 is 12. Now I'm going to bring that 0 back on down. And the official answer to 30 times 4 is 120. Now I have to do 6 times 4, which is 24. Bring down that plus. Now I'm going to do 120 plus 24. I'm going to set that up in standard algorithm just in case so I don't make any mistakes here. So that makes 4, this makes 4, and this makes 1. So my answer for 36 times 4 is 144. Okay, so these two pretty much are the same strategy. However, I just didn't draw the box for one of them. Okay,